The Skeptic Project is a joke. Debunking Edward L. Winston's slanderous article on the Zeitgeist movement. Edward L. Winston's critique of the Zeitgeist movement, TZM, is riddled with mischaracterizations, logical fallacies, and outright falsehoods. Below is a structured rebuttal addressing his key claims. 1. Misrepresentation of Peter Joseph. Winston attacks Peter Joseph, painting him as an authoritarian, conspiracy theorist, and egotist. These claims lack substance and rely on ad hominem attacks, rather than addressing the actual content of TZM's proposals. Conspiracy theorist? The first Zeitgeist film included sections on religion, economics, and 9/11, which led some to label Joseph a conspiracy theorist. However, TZM explicitly states that it is not about conspiracy theories, but focuses on social and economic reform through a resource-based economy, RBE. The second and third films, Zeitgeist, Addendum, and Zeitgeist, moving forward, dropped conspiracy themes and focused entirely on systemic issues and solutions. Authoritarian? TZM is leaderless in structure and focuses on participatory decision-making. Peter Joseph himself has consistently stated he does not wish to be seen as a leader, and that the movement is not about him, but about addressing global systemic issues. Censorship allegations? Claims that Joseph censors critics are misleading. TZM forums, like any online platform, have guidelines to prevent trolling, misinformation, and disruptive behavior. Banning disruptive users is common practice on all forums, including Winston's own. 2. Movies aren't the movement, a false dichotomy. Winston argues that because TZM emerged from Zeitgeist, Addendum, it must always be tied to the first Zeitgeist film. This is a logical fallacy. Clarification from TZM itself. The movement's official statements consistently clarify that while the film sparked interest, the movement itself focuses on RBE, technological sustainability, and systemic change, not the themes of the first film. Recruitment methodology. Sharing a film as an introduction to a movement is no different than activists recommending books, documentaries, or lectures. That does not mean the movement is defined by a single medium. 3. Fuck everyone else. A straw man argument. Winston misrepresents TZM's stance on humanitarian efforts, claiming it dismisses charity and immediate aid in favor of theoretical long-term solutions. TZM's actual position. TZM acknowledges that charity is a temporary solution and does not resolve systemic scarcity. However, TZM does not advocate against charity. It argues for addressing root causes. TZM members engage in educational outreach, sustainable technology projects, and discussions on societal transformation. Haiti example misrepresentation. TZM members questioning whether traditional aid is effective does not equate to indifference. TZM critiques the inefficiency of reactive solutions, while advocating for systemic change that prevents such crises. 4. What are you doing? The false equivalence. Winston argues that because TZM does not engage in traditional charity, it is ineffective. This is a flawed argument. Different approaches to change. TZM's role is educational and structural. Just as organizations like the United Nations do not personally hand out food, but instead work on policies that shape global food distribution, TZM focuses on advocacy for systemic change. False comparison. Winston claims that his weekend volunteering and donations are more meaningful than systemic activism. This is akin to saying climate activists must plant trees themselves rather than advocating for renewable energy infrastructure. 5. General problems, cherry-picking, and bias. Winston lists supposed problems within TZM, many of which are either misleading or inconsequential. Leadership structure. TZM does not operate as a centralized hierarchy. Its goal is to spread awareness of RBE and sustainability, not to function like a corporate entity. Criticism handling. Constructive criticism has been and continues to be discussed in open forums and events like Zeitgeist Day, Z-Day. Membership perception. The claim that members are primarily conspiracy theorists is anecdotal and not supported by evidence. TZM focuses on scientific and economic discussions. Z-Day success. The claim that Z-Day failed because it didn't reach Madison Square Garden is ridiculous. Z-Day has had successful events worldwide, with thousands attending in multiple countries, leading to ongoing discussions on sustainability and economic reform. 6. Future of TZM, baseless predictions. Winston claims that TZM has no future and is merely Peter Joseph's ego project. This claim is refuted by the continuing influence of TZM. The movement has inspired countless discussions on sustainable economics, technological solutions, and social reform worldwide. Its message remains relevant. The ongoing growth of RBE concepts. Concepts central to TZM are now discussed in academic settings, urban planning, and technological innovation spaces. Zeitgeist films' continued impact. Zeitgeist, Moving Forward 2011, was one of the most watched documentaries online, showing the continued reach of TZM's ideas. Conclusion: Winston's article is based on misrepresentations, straw man arguments, and ad hominem attacks rather than legitimate critiques of TZM's ideas. Instead of addressing the actual arguments for a resource-based economy and sustainable social models, he focuses on character assassination, selective anecdotes, and misleading claims. TZM remains a vital movement advocating for systemic change, and dismissing it based on misinformed rhetoric does a disservice to the broader discussion on global sustainability and economic reform.